"She's not my sister," he said of his newborn sibling. DNA test confirmed it. Lane and Curtis were the type of couple that many people were jealous of. Their wedding party was out of a fairy tale, surrounded by friends and family on a beautiful sunny day. They worked during the week and were able to enjoy life with friends on the weekends. So, they soon decided to expand their family. During her first pregnancy, Lana asked for time off to care for her child full-time, as Curtis was doing well in his business and could sustain the family on his own. Then Fred was born, their first son. He was very affectionate with his parents, only crying much in the early morning hours. When the boy reached school age, the couple considered enrolling him in a private school offering special classes for more advanced students. Curtis was excited by the possibility that his son could be a gifted genius. Before long, Lana became pregnant again. When they told him the news, Fred loved the idea. He often leaned over to hug her belly and listen to the fetus inside. Though only 5 years old, he would say he was trying to protect his mother from harm, and Lana found that very touching. Lana didn't want Fred to be alone when she went into labor. After all, Curtis would be with her in the maternity ward. Lana was drenched in sweat and exhausted, for the baby did not want to be born in any way. The doctor did some emergency tests and decided it was too risky to continue the normal delivery. But after another half hour, it became clear that the mother didn't have the disposition or strength to carry on. They would have to do an emergency cesarean section. When Lana also agreed with the idea, she was quickly sedated. Curtis wanted to continue holding his wife's hand and stayed in the room. Unfortunately, however, he had a phobia of blood and fainted when the scalpel started to open Lana's womb. But the birth was a success. Lana was well and stable, as was the child, a beautiful baby girl whom they named Sarah. When Lana was discharged and could go home, Fred was waiting on the porch, jumping with excitement and impatience next to his grandma for the arrival of his little sister. He ran to see his mother and sister when the car door opened. But what happened next, no one expected. "Fred, this is your sister, Sarah. Come say hi to her," said Curtis while Lana lowered the baby so he could see the new family member. But instead of smiling and being happy with seeing the girl, Fred frowned and looked coldly at the baby. He shook his head and said something that left everyone shocked and confused. "She isn't my sister," he said, looking at his parents. He wanted to know why the baby had blonde hair and blue eyes when everyone in his family had brown hair and brown eyes. Despite his young age, Fred's question challenged his parents' and grandmother's sense of logic. Lana and Curtis looked at each other with concern, not understanding why their boy was saying such things about their newborn. When Lana bathed her daughter, she would ask Fred to help. Fred would help his mother give the baby a bath but would do so without saying anything or showing any particular affection. Curtis couldn't take it any longer and persuaded Lana to let him take the boy to a psychologist. Lana agreed. Warren saw Fred as a brilliant and logical boy and proposed an experiment. He called Lana and Curtis into his office and said the couple should do a DNA test. The DNA test was expensive, but the couple went forward with the idea. They collected blood from both parents and little Sarah, sent it to a laboratory, and waited for the results to arrive in a few days. The tests were ready by Friday morning, and Curtis went online to get the results. On reading the document, he felt his heart stop beating. "That's not possible," he exclaimed. He called Lana, who came running with the baby in her arms. She read it and sat down, stunned. The results showed that Sarah's DNA did not combine with that of Lana and Curtis. They realized someone may have switched their baby with another in the maternity ward. The doubt planted by the DNA test and the situation in which the birth occurred buried all the happiness in that house. Finally, the couple decided to investigate the matter to discover the truth. Terrified of a possible lawsuit, the hospital administrators promised to do everything they could to discover what happened. After 10 days, they found a family who may have ended up with Curtis and Lana's biological child. But unfortunately, it was a young couple living in much worse conditions than Fred's parents. The girl who was with them, suspected of being Lana and Curtis's legitimate child, had been born with a cleft lip. When the maternity ward team contacted the young couple and explained the horrible mistake that had been made, the mother's world came crashing down, wondering how they had let such a catastrophe happen. With no way out and determined to correct the error, the two families decided to exchange their babies. That was the most difficult decision in the life of all four parents. Curtis remembered how Fred, their first child, knew right when he saw the baby that it was not his real sister, and he was right in the end. Fred approached Lana and slowly lowered his gaze to the little girl. He looked for a good while at the baby. She stretched her arms toward him, and a big smile slowly spread across Fred's face.